How in the name of Gallifrey does one make a review about an entire season of Classic Who within a few minutes? Well, watch this review. Say no more, watch this review. Sit back, relax, subscribe, and all that jazz as I take a look at the trial of a Time Lord, which is known for being this gargantuan piece of Doctor Who media, sitting at, oh Jesus Christ, 14 parts long. Oh my god, that just takes the piss. I'm sorry, this story is too long. I'm saying that right off the bat right now. Some see this as one big story. I mean, no wonder with the size of it. But then others do see this as 4 different ones. Either way, the driving narrative of this is that the Doctor is put on trial by the Time Lords. Again. Haven't we been through this shit once before? The production team went for something different here by having this overarching narrative which was a metaphor of the situation that Doctor Who was facing at the time. The show was literally on trial after its 18-month hiatus following the conclusion of season 22. Let's be clear here. In 1986, Doctor Who was nowhere near the quality it once was during the golden era of the 1970s. You can tell just by looking at this that it is a shadow of its former self, and it does pain me to say that, but it's the truth. Colin Baker does great material that his Doctor is given here, and that's the kindest thing I can say, because there are some great bits, but there's also some other bits which are quite cringe. This is despite the fact that this is his final televised story as well, which sucks for so many reasons. Nicola Bryant is great as Peri Brown, and to be honest with you, I am one of those people who don't mind Bonnie Langford as Melanie Bush, and yes, I have to say though, the screams were fucking terrible. Lynda Belllingham was great as the Inquisitor, and Michael Jayston was a great addition to the cast as the Valeyard. There are parts of this epic which are really good television, and then there are others which are very questionable. If we were to go by each section of the trial, the mysterious planet starts off really good with this new theme music accompanying the title sequence. This is followed by that amazing opening shot with that ominous music. But then we end up with 4 parts of what I think is boredom, with some trial scenes which are imperative to the overall story, but are boring, and I say this for all 14 parts when it comes to the trial. Yes, there are some parts that make me go, oh, this is where it gets hot, but then there's other parts where you just feel like it's quite intrusive on the main action of each set piece. The main action which took place on Ravelox was nothing spectacular. This was far from the season opener I would have waited 18 fucking months to see. Also, those robots are shite. With Mind Warp, things I think go up a notch with the return of Syl from Vengeance of Varos. This was a no-brainer, although I do prefer his look from the former story. Brian Blessed turns up in this too as King Yukanus, so this automatically makes something so balmy as mind transfusion all the more bonkers. The segment ends with a shocking cliffhanger, which is brilliantly acted by Colin Baker, but they fucked it up with a cop-out ending in part 14, so whatever. Peri's alive! Terror of the Vervoids, I could take it or leave it. It's a murder mystery on a spaceship with plant creatures who are shit crinoids with penis heads. Well, you fucking tell me otherwise. The ultimate foe is a messy conclusion, but it does tie a few things together. Anthony Ainley elevates the pace with his return as the Master for like the gazillionth time, and then we get that big reveal that the Valeyard is in fact an amalgamation of the Doctor's darker sides between the 12th and final incarnation. This is what I remember the Trial of a Time Lord for. Not the cheesy cliffhangers. Not those penis-looking monsters. Or, as this young man once said,
it could have been a lot better.
This is a piece of Doctor Who lore, which I think adds mystery to the show, without tampering too much with many decades worth of history. I'm looking at you, timeless child. Oh, who wrote that? Anyway, the stuff with the Valeyard at the end is easily the best, and I am so glad that he did get name checks many years later in episodes written by Stephen Moffat. The character is one of the best creations from this era, which was marred by a lot of behind the scenes bullshit. This season was not the ideal scenario, given that the original plan was to have traditional stories as many had come accustomed to for over 22 years. Scripts were changed. Robert Holmes never finished his script for the final episodes as he passed away, and multiple people had a different say on what the ending should be. And the ending for this was this.
Carrot juice, carrot juice, carrot juice.
Oh. Is that it then? Well, yes it was. That immortal final line was the final one to be spoken by Colin Baker as the Sixth Doctor. Doctor Who was struggling with the ratings despite the attempt to tell a long story across 14 weeks. It was an ambitious effort, given that the show was flagging, but like it was in the early days, this was a bit too ambitious. There was some really cool imagery of places, but Trial does not hook me all the way through though. This is a bumpy ride, but given the circumstances, I can understand why. Had the circumstances been different, I do wonder if Colin Baker's era on TV would have lasted longer, rivaling that of the great Tom Baker's 7-year run as the Fourth Doctor. All I can say is, thank God for Big Finish.